Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I'm here with the Countach LP5000. I'm going to give you the stage 6 breakdown for this car. This car has been buffed, but it also has changed in some ways. At stage 5 only, it's a relatively quick car now. With a little bit of fine tuning, it should hit somewhere in the 12.6 range. Let's take a look, make sure we get the right setup here. So 12.69 without fine tuning. The thing is that it now has very decent top speed all the time, but it actually lost pre-update ability to run a low sprint. So it's no longer able to take on Tempest 3 Tier 4 without swapping cars. Now the LP Countach, the changes to the car really made it a faster car, but also I think Natural Motion's counting on the fact that you're going to elite this car and get more performance. I don't have one fully elite to play with, so I don't know if the sprints get any better, but at least without any elite upgrades, it will not hit the fastest sprint challenges. And in fact, even the slower ones may be more challenging. All right, let's take a look at stage 6 effects, starting with engine. Engine adds a little bit of performance points with some decent amount of Evo increase, which means it definitely will help. It's actually going to drop the time a decent amount. The question is how much. Without fine tuning, you can see it's about a 0.4 drop from 12.69 to a 12.2, which is actually good. And if you tune it, you probably can squeeze some more out of it, as we can see here. I just saw 96 earlier. So may have to do it point by point at this step. So that's a 12.252 with a little more power. The question is, can I get any more grip into it to help? Doesn't look like it. So right there, 12.252 is a nice drop from 12.69. Let's go on to the next one. I'm not going to run this mainly because at the present it's much faster and easier to just understand the basic changes on the dyno, then worry about actually running it once we get some combinations going. Okay, so here, moving on to turbo. Turbo also adds a little bit here and a little bit there. So turbo definitely will add some performance, although based on the number changes, probably less than engine. One thing I do want to note is that nitrous duration seems to prefer the long one now. Having a short nitrous duration will hurt the Evo points quite a bit, therefore give you a much slower dyno. All right, 12.362 is about a tenth slower than what engine's capable of. So turbo does drop the time, but not as much as engine's capable of. Moving right on, we're going to look at intake. Intake traditionally tend to be relatively weak as a stage 6. Let's see if it makes a difference for this car. One thing I do want to note is sometimes you get surprised by what really helps and what hurts the car. So not all cars are the same. This is why we do these videos, because they can always be different. Now, the dyno says I don't really need to tweak it too much. The computer actually didn't even mention that you need to tweak it, probably because we're already near the best we can get on the Evo points. So let's dyno it. 12.383. This is right near turbo, but I believe it's a little bit slower. But look at that mile per hour. So here's the thing. Engine turbo intake really helps you hit that top speed. So don't discount them just because they don't give you as much of a drop. And they actually do give a drop too. So it's not like they're totally useless. It gives you a drop, and it gives you the ability to hit much higher top speed, including that 260 mile per hour without specifically trying to tune to run a higher speed trap. So engine turbo intake, very important for that top speed. Let's take a look at nitrous. Now, here's the thing about nitrous. We already have nitrous at the lowest possible amount at the longest possible duration, so it's probably not going to affect the car in a positive way much more, because you can't use it this way to increase the nitrous power. It just makes the car spend its tire. That doesn't mean nitrous isn't going to drop the time. It will. 12.346 puts it a little bit faster than both turbo and intake, but behind engine at this point as far as performance. Again, you could try to fine tune it a little bit. You may be able to squeeze some more out of this, but generally speaking, it is on par with turbo and intake with maybe a little bit of extra performance as compared to those two. So I'm not going to fine tune it. Let's move on and take a look at the next one. Moving right along here, now that nitrous is out of the way, we can put it back and we come to body. Now, body could be a big one depending on how this car is set up, but just looking at these changes, I can tell you it's a big one. Body usually is a big one for tier 5 cars, not always true for tier 4, but in this case, it seems like it definitely had a big change. And it does. 12.079 is a big drop. That's like a 0.6 plus drop from stage 5 only. And if you tweak it a little bit, I don't know if you can squeeze more out of it. Doesn't look like a whole lot there. Probably going to be stuck looking at the numbers that we had before, which is about a 1223. Okay. All right. So body right now shoots to the top as the biggest stage 6. Engine followed by basically nitrous, turbo, and intake. All right. Let's take a look if tire or trans is going to outshine these other ones. Tire probably, wow, that's a big jump in PP points, but it dropped the Evo. Now, that doesn't really surprise me. More grip isn't necessarily helping. We probably need to retune. And yet, the computer is saying we don't need to retune. Huh. All right, first, take a look at time. 12.444 definitely is a drop from 12.6, but also right now falls on the bottom of the amount of drops. The good news is that it's not completely useless. The bad news is, of course, it's definitely so far the worst of the lot. Okay. A little bit of tweaking here doesn't seem to really get you very far. 12.419, a little bit of a drop, but not as good as any of the others so far. So tire coming in at the bottom. Let's see if trans will outdo tire as being the worst, or it'll actually be a very decent stage 6. So we had some good ones so far. That kind of implies that this trans probably won't be that strong. It wouldn't make sense to have too many strong ones all at once. And again, trans seems to drop the Evo rather than raise it, so that's definitely an issue. Let's take a look. So yeah, trans basically barely changes anything. Some tuning may be able to solve that, although I'm not sure. Based on what I'm seeing, it makes marginal difference to tweak it, but not a whole lot. Let's see if we can get that 40. So this is probably, well, I shouldn't say probably, this is the worst stage 6 now, even trumping tire. So last two that we looked at, tire and trans, falls on the bottom. So right now, you know, body's on top, engine actually coming in at number 2, and then you have basically what it looks like the pattern is, and I'll verify this as I review this video, nitrous, turbo, intake, tire, and trans being the bottom. All right, so that's the basic order of stage 6s. Let's take a look at the changes when it comes to a combination. Let's put in the big ones first, as we always do, which is top 3 is engine, body, and nitrous. So engine, body, nitrous being installed should give us a good feel for what this car will do with just 3 stage 6s. One thing I know for a fact is that it's definitely going to go over 260 mile per hour, 274 easily. However, notice this is not getting much better. And even with tuning, it's really not going to get much better. You can get more out of the car too by lowering the final drive. It definitely can get faster. 11.3, basically enough to easily take down Donna for her car with 3 stage 6s, but with the stipulation that you still need a sprint car to actually get the sprints done. So the good news is that It doesn't need many stage 6s to, quote, beat Tempest 3, but it won't beat the sprints. Speaking of the sprints, the typical strategy is always this plus tweaking the 0-60 maybe in one gear. Well, we're getting faster here. 1.494 is a long way to go. So you're not going to get 494 that easily with 0-60. All right, that being done, let's go back and look at the slow and less effective 4 stage 6s. That doesn't mean these 4 stage 6s won't do the job. It just won't be as wonderful as the top 3. So let's put them in. Trans being one that probably won't do much at all, but tire does a little bit. Trans, eh. On the other hand, turbo and intake should be enough to still push the car well into the 270 to 280 range mile per hour. So again, speed trap should be no issue for this car. Only problem is going to be the ultimate performance time-wise, and then also you can't do the sprints anymore. Okay, so let's tweak this, get that number up there. As you can see, it still gets a decent number from tuning. It's not terrible, especially if we get back to here a little bit. Wait, I saw 86, 87. All right, let's do 86. 11.7, 256. Now, notice it technically doesn't hit 260 with these 4, but in all honesty, I think it can. It's only 4 miles per hour off. A little bit late use of nitrous as you do the speed trap should get you there. So I'm not too worried about hitting 260 even with these stage 6s. The main thing, of course, here is that you won't be able to actually ease. Oh, that's why it's not hitting 260. You don't have it at 260. There you go, 267. So it's definitely going to hit 260 without a problem, even without the top stage 6s. Not only that, it is well under the time needed to beat Donna as well. But again, sprints are going to be mostly your issue with this car. As such, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this car for Tempest 3 unless you're willing to spend some gold to swap cars out if you get stuck with a sprint. Fully maxed, the car's pretty fast now, especially once you elite upgrade it. So it's not a bad car all around. Live racing, I haven't really extensively tested this car, but I have raced it and it can be effective in live. I will be doing a video sometime in the future on different types of cars for live and why they work. So tune into that video for that information. I'm not going to discuss it here. So that is the Stage 6 review for the Countach LP. I hope that this video is going to be helpful to you as you try to determine to use this car for various type of events, including Tempest. The Stage 6 effects are pretty straightforward. And again, just to reiterate the order, the best is body and the worst is trans. All right. If you have any comments, feel free to make them. I always like feedback from my viewers, so I would definitely try to respond, and I will also keep any requests for specific videos in mind if I'm able to do them. If you like the video, please leave a like. If you like the channel and would like to get notifications when I put up new videos, please subscribe to the channel so you can get those notifications. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.